His Excellency the President of the Republic of Indonesia, President Prabowo Subianto, as represented by Professor Dr. Pratikno, the Coordinating Minister for Human Development and Cultural Affairs in the Republic of Indonesia, the Minister of Culture, Dr. Falizon, and other colleague ministers here present, vice ministers here present, ambassadors, and other heads of delegation here present, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to ride on the protocols already established. Good morning. I don't hear a response. Good morning. That sounds better. Thank you so much. You can clap more, it's okay. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, I bring to you the warmest greetings from the great plains of the African savannah, from the enduring majesty of great Zimbabwe, and from a nation whose heartbeat is the rhythm of Mbira and the wisdom of our ancestors. It is indeed a profound honor to stand before you in this beautiful, culturally rich island of Bali, which provides a befitting backdrop for my address today, titled Culture for the Future, a Bridge to Building Peace and Prosperity. The significance of Bali as a center for representing the cultures of more than 17,000 islands that make up the world's largest and archipelagic nation, the Republic of Indonesia, cannot be understated as we attempt to draw parallels and build bridges for peace between communities, cities, nations, and continents. We are gathered at a critical juncture in human history. Our world is often fractured by conflict, inequality, and environmental challenges. In the frantic rush towards modernization, we are sometimes told to look only forward, to shed the skin of the past. But I stand here today to assert fundamental truth. Our greatest compass for the future is not found in forgetting our past, but in understanding our cultural heritage, as it reminds our past and inspires the future. Allow me to abuse my proximity to the mic for a few seconds and talk about my home country, Zimbabwe, which has a rich history of cultural preservation, and whenever strife is its ugly head, it is common practice for us to draw our ancient cultural heritage of Ubuntu, to find unity and make peace. Ubuntu is sub-Saharan cultural ethos of community, interconnectedness, and mutual respect. It simply implies that I am because you are. Without you, there is no me. This also inspires our national mantra, championed by our president, Comrade Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, that Zimbabwe is a friend to all and an enemy to none. This philosophy, distinguished delegates, is etched in stone at the ancient city of Great Zimbabwe. The Great Zimbabwe consists of magnificent structures built with stones without mortar and has stood for centuries. How has that happened? Because each stone was carefully chosen to fit and support the other. It is a powerful metaphor for our world today. Our different cultures, traditions, and beliefs are like those stones. Alone, of course, they're impressive, but when carefully, respectfully, and intelligently fit together, we can build civilizations that endure for millennia. This is the first pillar of our bridge, the wisdom of our indigenous knowledge systems, teaching us unity and resilience. Zimbabwe exemplifies cultural diversity and traditional resilience. Landmarks such as Manapus, Victoria Falls, Kami National Monument, and Matobo World Heritage Site, and of course the Great Zimbabwe, highlight this legacy. Additionally, the nation is celebrated for Mbira music and Mbende Jerusalem dance, which are UNESCO inscribed as treasures of intangible cultural heritage of humanity, and our vibrant contemporary art always illustrating how culture remains a vital force for development, dialogue, and diplomacy. Culture acts as a vital bridge connecting nations across the globe. The architectural genius of great Zimbabwe, built without mortar, as I mentioned earlier on, yet it has been standing for over 1,000 years. The masterful precision of the Nubian pyramids of Sudan, constructed by our ancient African queens, and the ancient shrines of Gunung Kawi, right here in Bali, demonstrate how indigenous innovation can surpass contemporary engineering. This same spirit of indigenous ingenuity could revolutionize modern challenges, from sustainable architecture to urban planning to food security. The First Lady of Zimbabwe, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, has done impressive work in the preservation and promotion of gastronomy tourism, culminating in Zimbabwe hosting the maiden UN Tourism Regional Forum on Gastronomy Tourism for Africa 2024. Across Africa, we see culture as the engine of progress. In Mali, the griots have been the living libraries of West Africa for centuries, preserving history, law, and social norms through oral narratives. Today, that same powerful tradition of storytelling is being channeled through film, literature, and digital media. It is now a global economic powerhouse, creating jobs and shaping narratives. This is culture for prosperity. It is taking the ancient art of the griot and giving it a modern pen, a camera, a coding language. Young Africans are using digital platforms to teach indigenous languages, to create animation based on traditional myths, and to design fashion inspired by ancestral patterns. They are building economic prosperity on a foundation of cultural pride. Culture fosters empathy and shatters stereotypes. When we watch a Nigerian film, when we are moved by a Bengali poem, when we dance to the beat of Colombian cumbia or Zimbabwean jiti, or the fire dance which we were mesmerized by last night when we had our dinner, I think we all followed it, we all tried to understand the storyline behind it. And that way we are not just being entertained, but we are stepping into the emotional world of another people. We see their joys, their sorrows, their hopes, their struggles, and of course their successes. And we recognize our shared humanity. This emotional connection is what removes the tendency to view each other as strangers or enemies. The arts make empathy tangible. Cultural heritage serves as a safeguard against identity-based violence. When some seek to destroy ancient civilizations, they do so precisely because they understand the power of culture. They know that to destroy a people, you must first erase their memory. You must first cut that umbilical cord between them and where they come from. They know that, therefore, the act of preserving cultural heritage, whether it's the manuscripts of Borobudur Temple of Indonesia, is not a niche academic pursuit. It is a direct act of defending human dignity and preventing cultural cleansing. It is an active practice of peace. Just as culture is a foundation of peace, it is also a powerful engine for inclusive and sustainable prosperity. We must move beyond the limited view of culture as a cost center and see it for what it truly is, a strategic economic asset. The creative economy is one of the fastest growing sectors globally. It is not new. It is the modern industrialized expression of our innate human creativity. Bollywood, India's film industry, is a prime example. As alluded to also by the Minister of Culture, Dr. Fali John, you mentioned that 59 million viewers in the Indonesian film industry. That's not a small figure. It clearly shows that the film industry does not emerge from government white papers or investment fund. It grows organically from deep-seated culture, rooted in traditions such as choreographed performances, folklore, traveling theater groups. Today, it is a multi-billion-dollar industry that employs millions, from actors and directors to designers and builders, and it projects cultural narratives across the globe. This model is replicable across sectors. Think of the fashion industry, for example. The vibrant Kitenge and Ankara prints of Africa, the delicate silverwork of the Bebas, and the natural dyeing methods of India. The famous batik fabric created using the traditional Indonesian art form of hand-drawn and stamped patterns. These are not just crafts, ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends. They are unique intellectual property, the basis for sustainable luxury brands that can command premium value in the global market while providing dignified livelihoods for entire communities. Let us not forget the agricultural wisdom embedded in our cultures. Zimbabwe, for example. In Zimbabwe, we have a practice called Pfumvuza, spearheaded by His Excellency the President of Zimbabwe, which has revolutionized farming in Zimbabwe and brought food sufficiency within the first 2 years of implementation. Pfumvuza, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished delegates, is a climate-smart method for maximizing yields from small plots through the traditional cultural practice of zero tillage. The rice terrace systems of the Philippine Cordilleras and of Bali itself are masterclasses in sustainable water management and soil conservation developed over centuries. In a world facing food insecurity and climate change, the indigenous knowledge is not an alternative. It is essential technology for our future survival and prosperity. Allow me, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to delve into some global examples that will further push us to appreciation of the power of cultural preservation in driving economic growth. The evidence surrounds us. In South Korea, for example, a deliberate national strategy to invest in its cultural industry from K-pop to K-dramas has paid enormous dividends. It is not just an economic success story, it is a powerful tool of soft power, making South Korea one of the most admired and influential nations, building bridges of friendship and fascination across the globe. In Bolivia and Ecuador, the indigenous concept of Pachamama, Mother Earth, has been enshrined in law, granting legal rights to nature. This is a stunning example of culture directly shaping policy to create a more sustainable and prosperous relationship with our planet. Even in the technologically advanced nations of the global north, we see a yearning to reconnect with cultural roots through farm-to-table food movements, through the revival of artisan crafts, and through the popularity of genealogy. This is a search for meaning and sustainability in a fragmented modern world, providing that cultural prosperity is a universal human need. Therefore, distinguished guests, our charge is clear and urgent. We must deliberate architects of this cultural bridge. We must integrate culture into national development plans. We must move culture from the periphery of government to the center of strategic planning. Ministries responsible for finances must see cultural infrastructure and the creative industry as creative investments and not as expenses. We must invest in cultural education. We must teach our children their languages, their histories, their traditional arts and philosophies. This is not about living in the past. It is about giving them a rooted identity from which they can confidently engage with the world. A Zimbabwean child who knows the history of the 12th century Great Zimbabwe walks into a global boardroom with inherent confidence. Let us leverage technology for preservation and access. Let us use digital tools to create vast archives of our oral histories, languages, and music. Let us use virtual reality to allow a child in the diaspora to walk through the monuments of their ancestors. Let us use e-commerce platforms to connect a master craftswoman in a rural village to a global market. Let's practice cultural diplomacy relentlessly. We must support artist exchanges, collaborative productions, and cultural festivals. The shared experience of creating art together is one of the most potent forms of diplomacy known to mankind. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, and this is the genuine, real conclusion, I know politicians have a tendency of concluding so many times before we actually conclude. You say, finally, And then lastly, and then last but not least, and as I conclude, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually genuinely concluding. The bridge to the future we all seek, a future of peace, dignity, and shared prosperity, is already designed. Its blueprint is found in our collective cultural heritage. It is built with the stones of Ubuntu. I want us to remember this word, Ubuntu, which means you are because I am because you are. It is built with the stones of Ubuntu, woven with the threads of our diverse narratives, and illuminated by the creative spark that exists in every human community. Let us be the generation that had the wisdom to cross that bridge. Let us share our songs, learn each other's dances, trade our stories, and build economies that honor our planet and our people. For in the grand symphony of human existence, every culture is a vital instrument with a unique sound. Only when we all play together, respecting each other's score, can we create a harmony so powerful, so beautiful, that it will resonate for generations to come, ensuring a future that is not only prosperous and peaceful, but truly human. And let's all remember that peace begins with you, peace begins with me, peace begins with all of us. I thank you. Terima kasih.